Hi, Steve Blythe, J.Racenstein, and today we're out with Seal and Lock's Bio Strip to take the old sealer off of these pavers, and Super Wet to put down that nice glossy sheen that the customer's looking for. So we've got pavers that are about 4 years ago were sealed with just a store-bought brand sealer, and we're looking to get that up and then reseal this with Seal and Lock's Super Wet paver sealer.
So here we're going to be using Bio Strip to take the sealer off, and we're going to be applying it with a roller. You can also apply with a pump-up sprayer or a Pro Tool power sprayer to apply an even amount of product on there. You'll need a little more for a thicker sealer. This sealer was pretty worn, so we rolled on a thin amount and moved on.
So now that we've applied the Bio Strip and we've waited for its dwell period and we've seen the pictures of how it's bubbling up the old sealer, it's time to go take that old sealer off the pressure washer. We got here a 4 gallon a minute, 4,000 PSI Honda engine and a pressure washer pump with a diesel heater. So this is going to heat the water up to 190, 200 degrees and help us to remove that old sealer. So off we go. The sealer has been allowed to sit, and we can see that it's starting to come up with this white here. On the stairs, we're going to use a 25-degree tip to take that sealer off. Rob, you're on. Thanks, Steve. We can really see the difference here between where the sealer has been removed and it still remains. We used a process of going around and cutting in on all the edges first, and then knowing that they were clean, going and cleaning patches, about 4 by 6 foot square patches at a time with the wand, and that worked really well for us to keep an idea of where we were clean. At first, when you still have a lot of sealer on there, it's really easy to see what you cleaned and haven't cleaned. But then you have to go back and look at where you push the sealer out of the cracks and crevices. So you let it dry, take another look, and then you'll see here's some hazy area, or here's some accumulated sealer in a crack, and you can go back and touch it up. We did about half an hour to 45 minutes with a touch-up after completing the removal process. From beginning to end, with actual time on the job, it was about 8 hours to do this 3-car driveway and walkway into the house. The next step after cleaning the sealer off is to re-sand the pavers. The purpose of the sand is to keep the pavers locked together. And use an all-purpose sand for this task. And usually use a broom to broom the sand over the surface, over the cracks. In this small area, it's a small broom. You can use a larger broom in a larger area. You don't want to watch the sand fall down into the crevices, and take your little pile of sand and roll it over all the cracks until it's not falling in anymore. Back and forth. Sometimes if you have a wide gap, you'll need to help the sand fall down into the gap. Often it's just a couple of passes and that gap is full. Things you want to do when you're rinsing this off is to not draw the sand out from in between the pavers too deep. You want to leave an 1/8 inch gap between the top of the paver and the sand top. So you want to shoot across on an angle with your water broom. So you'll end up with a favorite to this. You can actually do it with like a 40 or a 50 on a pressure washing 25-degree type of a soak tip. There's enough water pressure here that this is moving the sand nicely without actually removing the sand between the bricks too much. So now we've taken off the sealer and have put down our sand, and we're ready to actually apply it. Here we're using Super Wet, which is a California approved high solid sealer from Seal & Lock, and it comes in a 7-gallon pail with 5 gallons of product, 2-part that you mix together, and then you dilute. So the dilution is the first coat is a
coat. This top coat provides the durable
and you want
finish
the product to get down between the pavers. So that's 3 parts water to 1 part
wet look finish
of the product.
Then
when you get that on there and you want to do your top sealer to make it look great,
down into the
it's
cracks
1 to 1, 1 part of product, 1
glossy sheen
sealer coat,
to the
and you apply that with the pump sprayer from Seal & Lock, and comes separate as a system for applying their products.
Here we're putting on the flood coat. This is a
18
diluted form of the
batteries
product per the label instructions, and it's thinner, allowing
Inside
it
the
to
Super
more
Wet,
easily penetrate
you have your
the
catalyst
cracks.
that you're going to mix with
This
the
penetration
product, and
locks
then
the pavers
on top
together
of
and the sand into the cracks of the
base
pavers, so it won't
solids
move
is
around
this
over
little
the
separator
future
that
time
you'll take
in
out and set
the
aside,
sun and water
and
and
then
rain.
you open up the catalyst and throw it inside to set this off. Once you've added this in, you want to use it within 2 hours. So from here, we've now added our catalyst, and we're going to mix it up with a mixing stick, and we're going to make our first flood coat, which would be 1 part of the solids mix, Super Wet, and 3 parts water. Start on one side of the building and then work the other way. And with the Super Wet's a 2-part product, but there are 3 products from Seal & Lock right now. One is a natural finish, then the Super Wet, and then there's an Ultra Wet that doesn't take a 2-part adhesive, and it's available in 49 states, not including California. So.
Here we're putting on the flood coat. This is a diluted form of the product per the label instructions, and it's thinner, allowing it to more easily penetrate the cracks. This penetration locks the pavers together and the sand into the cracks of the pavers, so it won't move around over the future time in the sun and water and rain. Now we're applying the top coat. This top coat provides the durable finish for driving on and giving you that beautiful wet look finish. The procedure here isn't so much about trying to get the product down into the cracks as to provide a nice even glossy sheen look to the surface.
I've spent the last 3 days with J.Racenstein being introduced to their techniques on how we would completely strip and restore these pavers, and I have to say that after three tough days of labor, it was well worth it, because the products that exist obviously, as you can see by the sheen and the rich wet look of the pavers, it turned out fantastic.
So Rob, what do you think of the job?
I'm just glad it's done.
Yeah, that too.